Greetings and welcome. How are we all feeling at the moment? Today's topic is about developing and breaking patterns. And a lot of us don't realize how dangerous our patterns really are, how harmful they are, and we don't realize how they manifest in our worlds as something that can completely destroy the self. And breaking patterns is very, very difficult, but developing them is not so difficult. Breaking patterns requires a conscious effort because when patterns are created, it is a subconscious process. It's a conscious process. When you start enforcing specific patterns, then it is a conscious process. But the more you enforce those patterns, the more ingrained they become in the mind, and the more they will become a subconscious process. So you don't even have to be aware that you are creating a string of behaviors or patterns that create a specific habit. Patterns are a string of behaviors, something that we practice within ourselves in our communication, how we do things, how we approach things, what we do during the day, and they have to be repeated consistently. A behavior or a pattern cannot cement until you repeat it every day, over and over and over. And that is the true way to form a string of patterns. And your patterns, the small things that you do, create behaviors. And those behaviors go on to being destructive or constructive. Remember, your unhealthy patterns keep you complacent. They keep you stuck. They keep you stagnant. And sometimes we get stuck in this comfort zone where it's just easier to be unhealthy. It's just easier to not look after ourselves. It's just easier to not do the work that we need to do. And that's what keeps us from moving forward. That's what keeps us stuck in the same place, unable to achieve new goals, create new behaviors, create new patterns. And this unhealthy lifestyle that you have, these unhealthy behaviors that you have, cycle, and they create very, very, very unhealthy behaviors, and that creates outcomes that could be very harmful, very difficult to deal with. Our patterns are designed by our values, the personal truths that we have accepted, and the views that we have on specific things. You see, all of these components of the self, like what we see as morally wrong or right, what we accept as true, how we view the world, how we view ourselves, all have an impact on the little string of patterns that we create. We cannot create patterns without internalizing it first and running it through our values, because we are not likely to create a habit or a string of patterns that does not align with who we are, our values, and how we see things, because how we see things will also determine how that translates onto our physical world. And our personal truths have a huge impact on the patterns that we form, because your personal truths is what you decide is true about yourself, is true about life, and it's a certain set of beliefs that you adopt. Remember, developing patterns takes time. Just like it takes time to break a pattern. If you take how long it is taking you to develop a habit or a pattern, times that by 2, and that is the minimum amount that it will take you to break that pattern. Remember, it's not something that can be broken overnight, because you can't force a conscious process over a subconscious process. You have to reinforce a conscious process so much that it becomes subconscious, and you kind of have to break already the subconscious patterns that you have been creating throughout the years. Our patterns manifest from how we internalize our world, how we see our inner selves, and how our inner realities, our own map of the world, our internal worlds, have a huge impact on the patterns that we will create, because your internal world is where the habits manifest, it's where the patterns manifest, it's where the behaviors manifest, because that's where your thoughts and your feelings and things, all these things contribute to your behaviors and how you react and how you respond. So they manifest in an internal way, and what you do with that will translate to your external world, and how it manifests in your external world. It is all an internal process before it materializes. Remember, patterns can be healthy. You can have an amazing lifestyle. You can have a pattern of a bedtime routine, waking up early, maybe doing a little bit of exercise, having a healthy meal, becoming productive. Those are all little patterns of behavior that create a healthy lifestyle, that facilitate productivity and growth and moving forward and not being stuck in the same place the whole time. So your patterns can be extremely healthy. It's just dependent on how you carry them out, how you respond to your internal world, and how you project these patterns onto your external world. Because if they are healthy, then you will feel good. But if your patterns are unhealthy, you won't feel good. Remember, patterns are what creates habits. Habits are little behaviors that you practice over and over and over and over. A habit is something you don't even need to think about. It's something that's completely subconscious, that you have taught your subconscious mind to do without thinking, and that is what creates a habit. And we use patterns to create habits to either obtain a reward or to avoid punishment. There is always a goal for a habit. There's always a goal for a string of patterns, a string of behaviors. There's something that we want to get or we want to avoid. And it can be very difficult to break patterns and break habits and create new patterns, but there is this process or this opportunity that you can use, and it's a concept called pattern interrupt. Pattern interrupt is interrupting a pattern of behaviors, either with a shock or a distraction. If you have a bad habit of drinking soda and you want a bottle of soda and you walk to the fridge, distract yourself immediately, say, oh, I have to go water the plants, oh, I have to go do this. But what also helps in extreme cases is if you are doing a certain pattern, usually a loud clap or a loud snap or dropping something, because that initial shock completely stops you from carrying out the habits or the behavior or the pattern even further, because now the brain is focused on what was that, and your patterns determine your lifestyle, and we all know this. If you have a bad set of patterns, you are going to be unhealthy. If you have a bad sleeping pattern, bad eating pattern, you're not very productive or busy throughout the day, then yes, the little things that you carry out every day will end up harming you in the long run. Remember, your patterns are noticed by others, and this can negatively or positively affect relationships. connections and bonds, because people are not attracted to people who are self-destructive or who are harmful. People look for people who are prosperous, optimistic, and look for healthy things, have good values, because we are all attracted to health and prosperity. Remember, developing patterns is one thing, but breaking them takes a lot of reinforcement. So remember, you are unique and valuable. Take care of that stunning person. Stay strong wherever you're from.